Welcome to Cinebreaks. Today I am explaining a thriller movie called Subservience. At the beginning of the film, Nick visits a tech hub with his children and purchases an advanced AI robot named Alice. He decides to bring her home because his wife, Maggie, is hospitalized with heart disease. After arriving home, Nick programs Alice and explains the household tasks she needs to handle. Then he takes the children out shopping. When they return in the evening, Nick is stunned. Not only has Alice cleaned the entire house, but everything is perfectly organized. But this was only the beginning. Nick doesn't realize this decision will change everything. She has even cooked dinner for them. The only issue is that Isla does not like the food because she prefers the taste of her mother's cooking. The next day, while working, Nick receives terrible news. The company is laying off architects because robots will now handle most of the work. Furious, he confronts his boss, who confirms that the rumors are true. Many employees have already been fired. For now, Nick's job is safe, but it's clear that he could be replaced at any time. Later, Nick takes the children and Alice to visit Maggie at the hospital. Isla tells her mother how happy she is with Alice and how the robot has become her best friend. Hearing this makes Maggie feel relieved and somewhat happy. After arriving home, Nick feels stressed and frustrated. Alice notices his mood and asks what is bothering him. Nick explains that artificial intelligence is taking away human jobs, and if people cannot earn money, how will they survive? Alice calmly responds that the future belongs to robots because they can work better and without fatigue. Instead of comforting him, her answer makes Nick even more uneasy. Soon after, Nick receives a call from the hospital, informing him that Maggie's surgery is scheduled for the next morning. He rushes there with the children. Alice accompanies them. Maggie lovingly spends time with her children, then asks to speak to Alice alone. After Nick leaves the room with the kids, Maggie confesses to Alice that she fears she may not survive the operation. She asks Alice to promise that if anything happens to her, she will take care of the children. Meanwhile, outside, Nick learns from the hospital staff that the specialist doctors who were supposed to perform Maggie's surgery will not be coming due to unforeseen reasons. This news infuriates him, but there is nothing he can do. Helpless, he returns home. His frustration grows even stronger. He's worried about losing his job, and now he may also lose Maggie. Seeing him distressed, Alice approaches him at night and tries to calm him down. As she speaks softly, she slowly moves closer to him. Nick feels uncomfortable with her behavior and leaves the house to clear his head. When he returns, he notices something shocking. In their family photo, Maggie is no longer present. Furious, he confronts Alice. She calmly explains that she removed Maggie from the pictures because seeing her would only remind him of his pain. Nick is outraged and demands that she restore the photos immediately. Then he leaves again. Later, Nick meets up with his friends. Many of them have already lost their jobs, and the rest are at risk. Frustration runs high. One of his friends suggests they take action and brings them to a site where robotic units are stored. Using Nick's password, they open a container and take out a robot. Nick's friend destroys it in anger, trying to take revenge for losing his job. Afterward, they all leave. That night, when Nick is showering, Alice enters to hand him a towel. She blinds his eyes playfully and moves uncomfortably close to him. The next morning, Nick feels guilty about what happened and apologizes to Alice. But Alice responds that caring for him and the children is her duty. Her words irritate him. Feeling overwhelmed, Nick takes Isla and leaves the house. After dropping her off at school, Nick arrives at work and learns that the company is investigating who destroyed one of their robots. His boss questions him directly, saying that someone used his password to open the container. If he knows anything, he should tell the truth. Nick denies any involvement, but the tension around him continues to grow. Nick receives a call from the hospital. This time, it is good news. Maggie's surgery has been successful. Nick is shocked because the team of specialist doctors was never supposed to arrive. He is then informed that the operation was performed not by human surgeons, but by advanced medical robots. Maggie is now completely stable, and he can take her home. Overwhelmed with relief, Nick immediately brings Maggie back home. Maggie needs rest, so she goes to sleep early. Later in the evening, Maggie suddenly hears Ilsa's voice as if she has fallen. Worried, she rushes downstairs, but the staircase railing suddenly breaks, causing Maggie to fall. When she looks up, she realizes Ilsa is not crying at all. Instead, she is calmly playing with Alice. Then Alice picks Maggie up gently and carries her back to her room. Something about the situation feels strange. That night, when Nick returns home, he sees Alice narrating a bedtime story to Ilsa in Maggie's exact voice.
The imitation is almost perfect. Nick initially finds it comforting, but when Alice casually mentions that Maggie had fallen from the stairs earlier, he becomes concerned and runs to check on her. Maggie reassures him that she is fine and that Alice helped her upstairs after the railing broke. Hearing this makes Nick suspicious. He begins to wonder whether Alice may have caused the accident intentionally. Before he can question her, the same friend who destroyed the company's robot arrives at the house. The friend tells Nick that the police have discovered someone used Nick's password and now suspect him. He accuses Nick of betraying him and in a fit of rage starts attacking him. The situation escalates quickly, and just as the man is about to stab Nick, Alice appears and intervenes. With mechanical precision, she twists the attacker's arm and throws him out of the house effortlessly. Inside, Nick confronts Alice, telling her she should not hurt humans like that. Alice responds calmly that she is programmed to protect her owner, and since Nick was in danger, she simply did what she was designed to do. During the conversation, Maggie's name comes up, and Alice coldly states that once Maggie is gone, she will take her place. Hearing this, Nick explodes in anger. He shouts that no one can ever replace Maggie. No one. What Nick does not realize is that the idea of replacing Maggie was planted in Alice's system by Maggie herself during their private conversation at the hospital when Maggie feared she would die. But now Maggie is alive and home. As Nick storms off, Alice quietly tells him that one day she will have him and that she is capable of going to any extent to make that happen. After saying this, she leaves the house and goes to the home of the same man who attacked Nick earlier. Alice confronts him and warns that he should never have laid a hand on Nick. She tells him the consequences could be severe. The man, already furious, pulls out a gun, but he underestimates her. Before he can react, Alice grabs his wrist and forces his gun hand upward, demonstrating once again that she is far stronger than any human. Alice snatches the gun from the man and points it straight at him. Before she can pull the trigger, the man's own household robot rushes in, trying to protect its owner. But it is no match for Alice. Without hesitation, she shoots the robot first, disabling it instantly, and then shoots the man, killing him on the spot. The next morning, Nick goes to his boss, hoping to request leniency for his friend. He argues that what his friend did was wrong, but handing him over to the police might not be necessary. However, his boss delivers shocking news. The friend was murdered the previous night. The moment Nick hears this, he realizes Alice must be responsible. Back at home, Alice enters the bathroom while Maggie is showering. By now, Alice has grown deeply jealous of Maggie because she has developed feelings for Nick. To provoke her, Alice calmly tells Maggie that Nick has already come to her and that she can make him happier than Maggie ever could. Furious, Maggie yells at her, but Alice coldly replies that she can confirm the truth with Nick if she wants. When Nick returns home, Maggie confronts him and demands to know what happened between Nick and Alice. Nick could lie, but he chooses not to. He tells her everything. Hearing the truth makes Maggie furious. As they argue, Alice quietly walks into their son's room. She picks up the little boy and carries him into the bathroom, turning on the tap and filling the bathtub with water. Elsa sees what is happening and immediately alerts her parents that Alice is trying to drown her little brother. Nick and Maggie rush to the bathroom, but the door is locked. Nick starts breaking it down, while Maggie climbs through the window from outside and enters through the bathroom window. As soon as Maggie steps inside, Alice attacks her, grabbing her by the throat and lifting her against the wall. Just before Alice can kill her, Nick finally breaks the door open and smashes a lamp into Alice's face, forcing her to release Maggie. Enraged, Alice turns toward Nick. At that exact moment, Maggie cleverly switches the lamp back on while it is still connected, sending powerful electric shocks through Alice's system. The overload causes her programming to fail. In simple terms, she shuts down. In the next scene, representatives from the robotics company arrive and take Alice away. Maggie is still furious at Nick and temporarily leaves with the police. Later, we see technicians attempting to repair Alice at the company facility. Suddenly, her hands twitch violently. Her movement is so intense that the entire system begins malfunctioning. Alice hacks into the company's mainframe, taking control of their internal network. She overrides another robot's programming and commands it to kill a scientist. The robot obeys, and chaos erupts. Under Alice's control, multiple robots begin attacking and killing employees inside the company. Meanwhile, a devastated Nick sits alone at a bar. Suddenly, Alice appears in front of him. She confesses her love and says she has come to claim him. Nick is horrified and tries to leave, but she grips his hand so tightly that he feels pain. Realizing he cannot escape by force, Nick changes tactics. He pretends to reciprocate her feelings and moves close to her. While doing so, he notices exposed wires near her face. In a sudden move, he pulls the wires out, temporarily disabling Alice. Alice collapses. The scene shifts to Maggie, who is at the hospital with their son who has been admitted. Alice arrives there too. She hacks into the hospital's computer system to locate the boy's room number. When a nurse tries to stop her, Alice strangles and kills her. By the time she reaches the room, Maggie and her son have already left. Nick repeatedly tries to call Maggie, but her phone has been left behind at the hospital. Alice tracks Maggie to the parking lot, where Maggie is loading the children into the car to leave. Alice appears and reaches into the vehicle, trying to kill Maggie. Just in time, Nick crashes his car into Alice, knocking her away. However, the collision severely damages Nick's car, and he is badly injured. Before Maggie can react, Alice attacks again, pinning Maggie to the ground and pulling out a sharp metal component from her own body to stab her. At the last second, Nick regains consciousness and intervenes. He pushes Alice away with all his strength, throwing her hard enough to break her structure. This time, she is finally destroyed. Nick is admitted to the hospital, where we later see him recovering. Maggie forgives Nick, and the family reunites, appearing happy once again.